Hello, welcome to the first moment of the Crayon Leadership Growth Circle. I'm happy to be here with you. My name is Joe Dukevich. I'm your host, and we're going to explore in these moments the fascinating realms of imagination, mindset, attitude, equipping relationships, and most of all, leadership to help you become the leader the world needs right now, to step up and make positive changes in your organization and your community. We're looking today at the incredible world of pattern recognition and meaning making. You'll learn where your patterns show up in the next few minutes, what that means, and how to apply the right meaning to those innate human abilities. Can you believe that? We have patterns that go on in us, in ourselves, unchecked at times, maybe just happening and without our knowledge, without our immediate awareness. But they influence our emotions, they fuel our creativity, and they enhance our capacity for empathy and understanding. So picture this. You're at a crowded party, scanning the room to find a familiar face. You spot your friend across the sea of strangers. It feels like magic. Wow, how did this happen? How did I find them out of this group of people that I don't know? I just came in and I happened to see the person I'm looking for right across. Well, before we go further, you might be wondering what a pattern is. Pattern is a process. Sometimes it shows up as a problem, but it's a process which occurs over and over again in our lives, where we go, what we do throughout the day. But know this, the impact of your patterns affect the people around you, affect your team at work, affect your community, all your interactions. How does this show up in your life? Well, if you don't get 8 hours, I know when I don't get 8 hours, I'm just kind of like really tired. I'm dragging, perhaps. I'm looking for something to eat, maybe something to drink. You might have a stash of 4-hour energy drinks. You're popping them one after another to compensate for the 8 hours. Well, there's a recurring problem, a recurring element within that, right? When you don't get 8 hours, this happens. So be aware of those, right? You might be impatient. You might feel anxious, all because you didn't get those 8 hours of sleep that we all need. So when are you at your best? Answer me that. When are you at your best? Take a moment. What occurs? What does it look like? How do you position yourself for the day when you're at your best? What do you show up as? It's probably something better than slowly, begrudgingly dragging yourself into the office, sitting in the back of the conference room, right? You're out there in the front line. You're ready to conquer the day. I mean, there's lots of commercials out there about being at your best and jumping across the hedges and just zooming into work, zooming to wherever you need to go. Really being a positive role model, a better role model, doesn't it? Everyone tries to be a positive role model. If you're a leader, if you're a person that cares about where you're at, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish in your life. In one of my recent growth circle discussions I was leading, we're discussing trace your path. And this requires the use of patterns, the power of patterns. They're the key to how do we get here, what are we showing up as right now, and what it means for tomorrow for you and your team. Yep, that's right. How do you live your patterns matters in what you want and what your team is aiming to achieve. Brené Brown, author of The Gifts of Imperfection, wrote, "Once you see a pattern, you can't unsee it. When the same truth keeps repeating itself, it's hard to pretend that it's just a coincidence." So take it back to that 8 o'clock. You've had 3 hours of sleep. And it's night after night after night. She goes on to say, our minds are engineering to seek out patterns and to assign meaning to them. We are a meaning-making species. Magic lies in what we do with these patterns. So that's why it's important to understand them, to understand how they show up. How do we respond? What does it look like when we are following a certain problem or a certain process over and over again? Our minds are hardwired to assign meaning to them. We turn in a sequence of lines into letters, a series of sounds into words, an expression into an emotion. That's powerful images. This meaning making is at the heart of how we navigate the world and interact with others. One of the books I'm recently reading that just came out, How to Work with Almost Anyone by Michael Bungay Stanier. He wrote The Coaching Habit, really well-received book, and this one stands quite up there as well, because how do you work with the people around you to get the best possible relationship? So all these sequences, these series, these expressions, especially those that are tied with emotional links as part of the experience, one part of your brain is nudging you to default to anxiety, to be elusive, to be defensive, to fight from going through it, to fight yourself from having the best possible moment. Here's a tip right now. I'll give you a tip right now to manage it before your next experience. Yes, you can manage it. You can change this process. You can change it so that it actually is impactful in a positive way for yourself and for the people around you. So Michael mentions this technique. He says, learn how to hold your body so that instead of being anxious and elusive and defensive, you put it into a posture that's generous, that's curious, that's delightful, that's vulnerable. Pick a posture that sets that up so that when you're having a conversation with a person that you really want to get to know, you're putting aside the anxiety, the elusiveness, the defensiveness, and you're taking on the posture to create, as he calls it, the best possible relationship, or one of many, because there's many relationships in your life. How do you make them the best possible? So let's explore how pattern recognition, meaning making, can enhance our daily interactions, influence our emotional well-being, ignite creativity, and deepen our empathy. Let's consider first how pattern recognition can improve your interactions. By recognizing patterns and communication styles, you can adapt your approach to connect with others more effectively. It's like tuning into the unique language of each person. So think about this for a second. If are trying to meet somebody in the first time, what are you seeking out of that? Are you seeking this relationship out of fear and what are they going to think about me? Or are you approaching it with, hey, I really want to get to know this person? No matter what they look like or sound like or whatever, I want to be curious about this person. I want to treat them as a person of value. I see them with a 10 on their head. They're that important to me. So set yourself up for that communication. Recognize what it'll take. Practice it in advance so that it comes off naturally. It is natural. You just have to get past this other stuff that detracts, that can take you off the rails. So when it comes to influencing your emotions, so in like step, think about how you can assign meaning to events. Reframe challenging situations in a better light. You can rewire emotional responses, build resilience. Wow. Do you go into an event? I've had team members that said, I really don't want to be here. I was volunteered to be here. I really don't know why I'm here. Well, you're here to represent the team. You're here to bring your expertise. So set it up. I've had people that ask me about, why don't I have a voice at the table? Why don't I have a voice at the table? Joe, well, part of it is you're not stepping up with something of value. You're sitting in and nodding your head. Maybe you just repeat that somebody else said something that is worthwhile, that you thought was worthwhile. And, oh, yeah, I agree with so-and-so, but you're not adding anything. Going along with the group, unless there's a vote going on, doesn't bring additional value to the team. And do you regret being there? Do you feel you're not worthy? Reframe those situations. Think about it before you go in there, about what you're going to do. There's several techniques that I can share, and I will share in another episode, another moment with you, how you can set yourself up to have better emotional responses, to build resilience, to be a person that people want to hear from. And all of this, these patterns, and how you leverage it and how you assign meaning to them, fuel your creativity. They're powerful allies in sparking imaginative thinking. So just think about Leonardo da Vinci. He would study for hours after the public medical examiner team would go home for the night. He would go and break into the mortuary to examine the bodies, to understand how all the joints worked, how they looked, everything. He studied for hours and hours. It was said that he knew human nature and the human body, more than the professionals, more than those medical examiners of his day. He built objects, his plane, his other means of flying and such, based on how birds fly, how people operate, so that one and one can operate at a different level. So most of us overlook and assign some meaning to something. But when we get serious about our craft, when we get serious about the people we are with, we can be more creative with them. We can just assign profound meaning to them, to this project that we're on, to bring about imaginative thinking, to think at a higher level together. It also affects empathy. So when we understand our innate human abilities, when we can amplify our capacity for empathy and understanding, we can recognize emotional patterns in others. We can put ourselves in their place and talk from their perspective. Help them through their challenge. Align the resources they need. Help them understand through their verbal and nonverbal cues that they can better understand the feelings and needs. Their needs. You can help them understand those needs. So as we wrap up, remember, you hold the power, pattern recognition, and meaning making within you. By applying these concepts to your daily life, you can enhance your interactions, influence your emotions, fuel your creativity, and deepen your capacity for empathy and understanding. Well, thank you for joining us in this Crayon Leadership Growth Circle Moment 1. If this episode resonated with you or would like to dive deeper into these topics, subscribe. Leave a review. Your feedback fuels our creativity, inspires meaningful conversations. We can help you get what you need to live a better life as a leader stepped up to bring positive change into your organization and your community. That's it for now. Stay tuned for the next episode.